Welcome to the action episode of Super Accounts, health savings accounts, better known to me as health super accounts. We have 5 action items for you today, and the last one is a little known hack that most people are not utilizing. So you want to stick around for that. So, number 1 of 5 for action episodes related to health savings account. Go back and listen to episode 20. Talks a lot about insurances that you do and don't need, which is going to really come in handy in open enrollment season here as we go into that. It talks about health insurance a little bit, as well as some of the other ones that often come up, and so that will save you some money on some insurances you don't need and help you better evaluate the health insurance that you do. Action item number 2 is to evaluate the cost of your health plans. As you're getting your open enrollment packets with the new and updated information for health insurance for the new year, go through and evaluate those costs. Again, you want the total cost of care as we outlined in episode 20. If possible, choose a high deductible health plan with an HSA. Again, I can't make a blanket statement that every one of you should choose a high deductible health plan. Depends on your scenario and the costs and all that, but you want to at least evaluate those, and again, looking at more than just premiums or just deductibles, but the total cost of care, which again, episode 20 will explain to you a little bit better. If you can choose the high deductible health plan, then in 2022 here, you're going to want to move into action item number 3, which is to maximize an HSA first. So before you do any Roth contributions, before you do any IRA contributions or additional 401k above your match, HSA is the first place you should put money. So you want to maximize that first. And then action item number 4 is to invest your HSA. You want to leave a certain amount in cash for current day expenses that you may have, but otherwise you want to invest that. If you can't invest it in the HSA that you currently have or that your employer sets up for you, there are other options. And this is going to come in key. So sometimes when an employer sets up your high deductible healthcare plan, they also set up an HSA for you. And if that's one of the big mega firms, you may have the ability to invest inside that already. But particularly if you have set up your HSA at maybe a local bank or one of the lesser known firms, they often can't actually invest those dollars for you, which is why a lot of people don't know that you can invest in HSA. So what you're going to want to do is to open up an HSA somewhere that you can invest it. And you can transfer money from one HSA to another. So even if your employer requires that your contributions be put into a certain HSA and you can't invest that, you could transfer those maybe once a year or so on to an HSA that does. I'll put a link in the podcast description to Schwab's health savings brokerage account, which will allow you to invest that. And so you can check that out, or of course, Google investable HSAs and find one there. But step 4 would be to invest that. We want to get that money, that tax-free, that triple tax-free money working for you. You've worked hard for it, get it working for you. And here's the last one, action item number 5, and a little known fact. And this is going to apply especially to people who are like, yes, I like the idea of the triple tax advantage. It seems way better than any of the other accounts that I can do, but I can't afford to max out an HSA. I've got kids, I've got whatever other things, I can put a couple $100 in there a month, but I can't max it out at $600 a month or $7,200 a year for a family. And this is where action item number 5 is going to come into play. And it is this, to consider a one-time transfer from an IRA to an HSA. That's right, once in your lifetime, current tax law allows you to transfer up to the maximum high deductible health plan HSA limit, which is currently $7,200 for a family or $3,600 for an individual. You can do a one-time transfer from an IRA to that HSA to max it out. And this is perfect for years when you can't really afford to max it out with just normal cash flow. And you can only do it once in your entire lifetime, so do it in a time when you can max it out. So if you got an old 401k out there that you want to roll to an IRA, it has to be from an IRA. It can't be from a 401k. So if you have an old one, you can first roll that to an IRA. We can help you with that. And then you can do a one-time transfer to an HSA. And what that's doing is taking money that, hasn't been taxed yet, but that will eventually be taxed and making that eternally tax-free. which is awesome, right? You think about this, right? $7,200, let's say you have, again, you're 50 years old and you only have 15 years left till retirement. Well, making that one-time transfer, if that's invested well and that's making 8%, and in over 15 years, that $7,200 will turn into $23,000. And if you just left it in your IRA, that $23,000 is all taxable. But with this one move, you can turn that money into completely tax-free, saving you thousands of dollars in taxes on just one transaction. We just saved you thousands of dollars in one transaction. If you're younger, of course, it's going to compound even further. The younger you're able to do this, of course, those amounts end up in the many, many thousands of dollars in savings. So do that. Any year that you can't max out an HSA, once in your lifetime, you can make that transfer from an IRA and get that puppy maxed out. So those are your action items. Number 1, listen to episode 20 as you're going into open enrollment here. Number 2, evaluate the costs of your healthcare plans and choose a high deductible health plan if possible. Number 3, maximize an HSA before doing anything else. Number 4, invest your HSA. Again, a link in the podcast show notes to Schwab's one, which you can look at. And number 5, consider a one-time transfer from an IRA to an HSA to max it out. That's it for this episode. We'll see you on Monday on the Retirement Ship Podcast.